Today we are reading The Girl Who Figured It Out by Minda Dentler. This book is an autobiography, which means that the author wrote a story about her own life. I was born in a crowded village near Mumbai, India, to a poor but loving single mother. Not long before my first birthday, I became very sick. I couldn't move my legs and my hips had tightened. I was paralyzed. The doctor told my birth mother that I had a disease called polio. He told her that I would never walk. Without money to care for me, my birth mother brought me to an orphanage to put me up for adoption. She prayed another family could give me a better life. One day, Bruce and Ann Dentler saw my picture and were drawn to my smile. They knew that I was meant to be their daughter. Soon after, I flew to Spone Oak, Washington, and they adopted me. My parents taught me to go after my goals, even if they seemed impossible. "You can do it, Minda," my dad would always say. "Just figure it out." I figured out lots of things that someone like me wasn't supposed to do. First, I learned how to walk. After many surgeries on my hips and legs at 5 years old, I was fitted with leg braces and crutches. Next, I learned how to climb the stairs so I could ride the school bus with my sister. After that, I learned how to do my chores like my siblings. It wasn't easy. Sometimes I fell. Sometimes I got mad. Sometimes I wanted to give up. But I never did. Afterward, I was stronger, I was smarter, and I was more confident. Even though I could do some things like other kids, not everyone believed in me and left me out. In gym class, I was always picked last, or I had to sit on the sidelines. Some adults talked over me because they could only see my disability. Being different was hard. There were kids who didn't want to be my friend because my skin was dark brown or because my crutches and leg braces scared them. The Tin Man, they called me. But I didn't let those people stop me. I wanted to show everyone what I could do. I learned how to play the piano, and I performed for crowds. I worked hard, and I made the honor roll every year. I backpacked through Europe, all by myself. I even interned at the White House. After college graduation, I got a job in New York City, and I got married. I had done so much, but something was still missing. I was tired of sitting on the sidelines, and I wanted to be an athlete. Then, one day, everything changed. In New York City, I joined a running club for people with disabilities. On my first day, I was loaned a hand cycle. Once my feet were set in the plates, I cranked the gears and was off. Whoosh, 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 click. Whoosh, 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 click. Whoosh, 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 click. Woohoo! I yelled, zooming through Central Park. I loved cycling, but just like when I learned to walk, I had to practice. I made lots of mistakes. I took turns too fast, I tipped over, I got stuck going up a hill, but none of it stopped me. Afterward, I was stronger, I was smarter, and I was more confident. A fire had been lit inside, and I began competing in races like the New York City Marathon. I felt unstoppable. I was ready to do a triathlon. There was just one problem. I was afraid of the ocean because I didn't know how to swim. Then I remembered Dad's words, "You can do it, Minda, just figure it out." I stopped worrying and I asked a coach to teach me. At first I struggled to breathe and turn my hips, so I focused on swimming one stroke at a time. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Afterward, I was stronger, I was smarter, and I was more confident. I could ride my hand cycle for the bike race, but I needed a racing wheelchair for the run. I had never used one of these before. The bucket seat was uncomfortable and it was hard to brake, yet I practiced anyways, pushing the wheelchair up and down the hills of Central Park. That summer, I crossed to the finish line of the New York City Triathlon, excited for my next challenge. I decided to compete in the Ironman Triathlon in Kona, Hawaii. No female wheelchair athlete had ever finished the course. Could I swim, bike, and run 140.6 miles? Many people didn't think so, but that only made me want it more. "You can do it, Minda," Dad said. "Just figure it out." I got back to work and I trained harder. Over the next 5 years, I completed 10 triathlons all over the world. Afterward, I was stronger, I was smarter, and I was more confident. Finally, it was time to compete in my first Ironman World Challenge. When the day of the race arrived, my stomach fluttered with excitement, but from the moment the cannon sounded, all my plans fell apart. I panicked, swimming in the ocean. My goggles slipped off. I couldn't keep up with the others. On the hand cycle, my muscles burned and my throat grew dry. I wasn't moving fast enough, and I was not going to make the time limit. Beep, beep, honk, honk. As I reached the top of the 15-mile hill, I was pulled off the course for being too slow. My race was over. I had failed. "Maybe I can't do it. Maybe it's too hard," I cried. I thought about quitting triathlon forever, but my friends and family would not let me. "Just figure it out, Minda," Dad said. "You always do." For the next 9 months, I swam, I biked, I ran more than ever before. I worked with a team of coaches. I ate healthy foods. I lifted weights. I went to bed early, and most of all, I believed in myself. By the day of the race, I was stronger, I was smarter, I was more confident, and I was ready. On October 12, 2013, I treaded water waiting for the race to start with 2,000 other triathletes. My heart thudded in my chest and my stomach was in tangles, but I couldn't wait to swim. With a bang, the cannon went off and I burst through the waves. The Pacific Ocean stretched ahead, but like always, I focused on swimming, one stroke at a time. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, breathe. Then I was on to the bike ride through the scorching hot lava fields. Cyclists whizzed by, but on my hand cycle, I could go fast, just like them. Whoosh, 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 click. Whoosh, 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 click. Whoosh, 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 click. "I can do it!" I yelled. "I just need to figure it out." I gritted my teeth and I cranked the hand cycle up that last hill. After hours of riding, my stomach was in knots and my arms ached. Every bump in the road hurt. I checked the clock and I shook my head. There were too many miles to go and not enough time. I wasn't going to make it again. "Minda Dentler has made the bike time limit," the announcer shouted as I rode into the transition with 3 minutes left to spare. At last, I had reached the final part of the race, a marathon. I shuffled into my racing wheelchair and was off. Push, 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 roll. Push, 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 roll. Push, 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 roll. Whoa, the sun had set quickly, covering the road in darkness. When I reached Pilani Drive, my stomach dropped at the sight of the steep half-mile hill. "You can do it, Minda," I whispered. "Just figure it out." I gripped the wheels tight and I zigzagged up the hill until I reached the top. Exhausted, I pressed on for the final stretch. I was almost there. Just a few more pushes and... "Minda Dentler, you are an Ironman," the announcer shouted as I crossed the finish line. I did it. A paralyzed, orphaned little girl from India became the first female wheelchair athlete to complete the Ironman World Championship. If I could do this, I could do anything. "I'm so proud of you, Dad said. You never gave up on your goals." "Thanks, Dad. I figured it out." Now, Minda Dentler did not stop there. She now travels around, giving presentations to encourage others to be stronger, smarter, and more confident, and to believe in themselves. She has written her book, and she works hard as a child health advocate, bringing the polio vaccine to kids around the world who would not normally have access to the medication, allowing them to live a strong and healthy life and not having to face the challenges that she has faced.